Hello everyone, Cool family. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on everything about Barcelona. In this video, we have 3 pieces of news concerning our beloved club. Let's move on to the first piece of news. Blaugrana family, pay attention to this news that reaches us and fills us with optimism. It seems that Barcelona is working intelligently and with a forward-thinking vision that we have long awaited. After a season where, let's be honest, we experienced ups and downs and where some structural deficiencies were noted, the sports management is pushing hard in the market to build a team that will restore the glory we deserve and allow us to dominate Europe once again. With this in mind, one name stands out strongly, a name that already knows our home and our style of play, Joao Cancelo. If the Portuguese fullback could return home, bringing with him the promise of more imbalance and solidity on our wings, the news is clear, concise, and, above all, realistic. To secure Cancelo, the amount set for his transfer is €15 million, and this is where I want to be cautious, but at the same time show my satisfaction and support for this potential operation. 15 million is more than a reasonable price for a player of his caliber, with his proven experience in the world's most competitive leagues, his undeniable technical quality, and his tactical versatility. It's not a folly, it's not a blind bet, it's not mortgaging the club's future for a whim or a flashy name. It's an investment, yes, but a smart, measured, and absolutely necessary investment to strengthen a key position for next season. Barcelona is looking for a full-back who brings guarantees, experience, and versatility, capable of defending resolutely and at the same time being a lethal offensive weapon. Cancelo fits perfectly into this profile, like a tailor-made glove for what Hansi Flick's team needs. A puzzle that is finally completed with a masterpiece. His arrival would not only add quality but also give a qualitative leap to the new coach's strategy. Let's recall his previous stint with the Blaugrana team on loan. He left a positive memory, a pleasant taste in the mouths of the supporters. Under the direction of Xavi Hernandez, he played 42 matches, scoring 4 goals and having a notable influence both offensively and defensively. His ability to join the attack intelligently, his game vision to find the final pass, and his skill in overlapping on the wing offered us moments of great football, flashes of that associative and dynamic play that we love so much. It's true that he had his moments of inconsistency, like any player in a long and demanding season where fatigue and adaptation can play tricks, but his talent and overall impact were undeniable. However, his continuity was not possible at the time for reasons we all know, and he ended up landing at Al Ittihad, coming from Manchester City. A shame at that moment, as his absence was felt, but it seems that destiny sometimes gives us second chances to correct our mistakes. Now, the player's intention to return to Europe, added to Barcelona's interest in strengthening the right wing, has reactivated contacts. And this is the key, fundamental to the success of the operation, that the player wants to return to our home, wants to wear our jersey with passion. This is already a huge point in our favor, an indicator of his commitment and desire to triumph here. It's not the same to recruit someone who doubts as it is to recruit a footballer who clearly knows where he wants to be and where he can perform at the highest level in an environment he already knows and appreciates. Cancelo already knows the house, knows the style of play that defines us, and knows what it means to defend our colors against the greatest challenges. According to Sports 3, the negotiation is underway, and the Saudi club would be willing to accept this amount close to 15 million for his departure. And this is fundamental for our economic stability, an operation that, within Barcelona's current economic margins, seems feasible. Yes, and I insist on the caution that must always guide us, provided that certain departures are finalized beforehand. We cannot commit follies, we cannot stretch the cover beyond what it can give, but we also cannot let market opportunities slip away that can give us a huge qualitative leap without mortgaging the future. Caution is our ally, yes, but not paralysis. Now is the time to act with decisiveness, but also with responsibility. As the recruitment of Nico Williams looms as imminent and Joan Garcia has already been presented, good incorporations, by the way, which demonstrate that we are moving swiftly and with an eye on young national talent, Cancelo's return could signify another firm step towards the reconstruction that Hansi Flick intends, a deeper Barcelona, more complete in all its lines, with more tactical alternatives and with guaranteed players to face a season of maximum demand. Cancelo's versatility to play on both wings, both right and left, or even further forward as a winger if the situation requires, gives us very valuable tactical flexibility, something that every great coach looks for in their squad. This is the type of move we need at this crucial moment in our history. Proven quality signings, with experience in the elite, arriving at a reasonable price and fitting perfectly into the playing system that Hansi Flick wants to implement. We cannot afford more failed experiments or large expenditures that do not bear immediate and lasting fruit. Cancelo has already shown what he can bring to our game, and his desire to return is a plus that we cannot ignore, an added value that demonstrates his commitment to the project. He is the profile of the modern fullback that Barcelona has been searching for so long, with the ability to defend reliably in one-on-one situations, but also to be a game-changing factor in attack, breaking lines and generating opportunities. His game vision, his surgical final pass, and his ball striking make him a lethal weapon to unlock closed matches and open rock-solid defenses. Think about the demand of the Champions League, our great pending matter, and the scenario where Barcelona must shine again. We need seasoned players with character, who have played big matches in the final stages and do not tremble at the decisive moment under the pressure of a full Camp Nou. Cancelo amply fulfills this criterion, having played and triumphed in clubs the size of Manchester City, Juventus, and Bayern Munich. So, Cules, now it's your turn to express yourselves, to voice our feelings, to the passion that drives us. What do you think about the possible return of Joao Cancelo to Barcelona for this amount? The second piece of news concerns an important decision in our beloved club. Barcelona has made a strong entry into the race for Thiago Almada and threatens to frustrate the aspirations of Atletico de Madrid, which has been eyeing the talented Argentine offensive midfielder as a potential medium-term reinforcement for months. What seemed, until a few weeks ago, to be an operation heading towards the offices of Metropolitano has taken an unexpected turn. Joan Laporta, determined to provide Hansi Flick's team with the young and creative talent it needs, has positioned the Blaugrana club as a protagonist in the bidding for one of the names with the greatest projection in South American and European football. Barcelona has already started to move to explore the conditions of the transfer, and Flick's green light has only accelerated an operation that could become a masterstroke. Almada, at just 23 years old, is in a particular contractual situation that opens a unique opportunity in the market. His transfer largely belongs to the Brazilian club Botafogo, but his relegation with Olympique Lyonnais to Ligue 2 has weakened the position of the French club and activated alarms in the major European clubs. The Argentine wants to continue competing at the highest level, and his entourage has already expressed that his priority is to settle in a top-level league in Europe. In this context, Barça becomes an ideal destination, both for the style of play and the media showcase that comes with playing at Camp Nou. Hansi Flick has been clear. He wants footballers with overflow, vision, and the ability to influence between the lines. Almada fits this profile. Not only is he a technical and unbalancing offensive midfielder with the ability to make a difference in one-on-one situations, but he also brings a privileged game vision, a factor that could fit perfectly into the offensive philosophy that the German coach wants to implement. The Argentine, who shone during his time in Major League Soccer and had flashes of quality in League One, is considered one of those talents who need the right context to flourish definitively. And if there is a club capable of offering this environment, it is Barcelona. The Cule Sports Management, aware of the urgency to reinforce the midfield line with youth and quality, has already set to work. The price demanded by Lyon, close to €40 million, is considered negotiable given the relegation situation of the French club. Furthermore, contacts with the player's entourage have been positive. Almada would view landing in the Catalan club favorably, where he would have the opportunity to compete for titles, play in top-level European competitions, and continue to grow under the guidance of a coach who believes in him. This is not just a market opportunity, but a strategic bet that can pay off in the medium and long term, both sportingly and economically. However, the operation will not be simple. Atletico de Madrid has not given up on its aspirations, and Benfica has also shown firm interest. However, in the offices of Barcelona, they believe they can get ahead if they move quickly. The key will lie in the negotiating ability of the Catalan club, which could include variables or even the loan of a player to reduce the cost of the transfer. The truth is that Barcelona is not willing to let such an attractive profile slip away, especially if it allows them to snatch a target from a direct rival like Atletico. From the project's point of view, Almada represents exactly what Laporta wants to build: a rejuvenated, modern, offensive Barça capable of competing with guarantees in any scenario. It is no coincidence that Hansi Flick, known for his bet on youth and his ability to get the best out of emerging players, has given the green light to the pursuit of the Argentine. Thiago Almada could be that link between midfield and attack, that piece that channels the game and generates opportunities naturally. His recruitment would mean a clear boost for a squad that urgently needs new pieces. Almada's international experience, having already worn the jersey of the Argentine national team and knowing what it's like to play under pressure, allows him to arrive in Spanish football with the sufficient maturity to take on the challenge. At Barça, he would not only have the right environment to grow but also the necessary demand to make that leap in quality that many have been waiting for years. And to this is added the ambition of the footballer himself, who has refused offers from Brazil and lower-level clubs in Europe. It is clear that his desire to compete at the highest level is aligned with the objectives of the Catalan club. For all these reasons, Barcelona has a golden opportunity ahead. Not only can it acquire a promising footballer at a reasonable cost, but it can also directly strike Atletico, frustrating its future plans and strengthening an area of the field where Flick wants novelties. The Argentine embodies everything that the supporters expect from a new signing: quality, hunger, youth, and the ability to dazzle. This is not a blind bet, but a smart investment with a track record. Barcelona has already demonstrated on other occasions that it knows how to move when talent is available. The case of Almada reminds us of other operations where the club has known how to get ahead and build on that initial advantage. This time, it would do so with a symbolic addition, defeating Atletico on its own turf, snatching a player it saw as a key piece for its generational transition. Cule passion needs to be rekindled, and signings like Almada's have the capacity to reconnect the stands with the team, to project a future for a project that, although economically challenged, remains alive and ambitious. It remains to be seen if Laporta decides to accelerate the timeline and put a formal offer on the table. The scenario is set: a young talent who wants to make the leap, a club in need of this profile, a coach convinced of his value, and a direct rival on the lookout. What more is needed to activate an operation that could be key in the summer market? It's up to the Cule passion to give its opinion. Do you see Almada as an ideal reinforcement for the new project? Do you think it's worth investing in a player who has shown in MLS but still needs to consolidate in Europe? Is this an opportunity that Barcelona must seize to look to the future with hope? The debate is open. What cannot be disputed is that the name of Thiago Almada has already strongly entered the club's agenda, and everything indicates that Barça will not remain with its arms crossed, because when there is talent and ambition on the table, the blue and garnet badge must always be in the conversation. And this time, with Almada, it could be the perfect moment to demonstrate it. The third piece of news is a huge scoop concerning Barcelona. Pay attention to this news that reaches us and, frankly, turns my stomach. While we, Barcelona, work tirelessly to regain the greatness that has always characterized us, adjusting our accounts and planning the future with a seriousness that others will never know, vultures, scavengers, and Premier League teams with inflated checkbooks from television rights are ready to raid our nursery. And in this case, Arsenal, with Mikel Arteta at its helm, has set its eyes on one of our most precious treasures, Marc Casado. And what's worse is that from within the club itself, there is talk of the possibility of his departure. This is unacceptable, companions. The circulating information is that the Londoners are preparing an offer close to €40 million to take our young midfielder. 40 million for a talent from La Masia. And what outrages me is that the management, after finalizing the arrivals of Joan Garcia and Nico Williams, recruitments which, by the way, should have already given us that financial ease we talk so much about, now considers the sale of Casado as an option to free up salary space and generate income. Don't we learn? Don't we realize the intrinsic value of what is formed at home? These 40 million are a pittance compared to the future potential we are sacrificing. Mikel Arteta, yes, the same one who once drank from our source, now comes to fish in our waters. He has directly designated Casado as a strategic reinforcement, and I understand him perfectly. The 21-year-old midfielder fits into his idea of play, a young, disciplined profile with tactical ability, strength in recovery, and, above all, that Barca DNA that cannot be bought with money, that is forged only in La Masia. The goal at the Emirates is to strengthen the base of the midfield before addressing the recruitment of a forward, and in this plan, Casado has become a priority. Of course, a priority for them, because they know what they are taking, they know they are fishing for pure gold in our home. Casado, trained at La Masia from his foundations, had intermittent prominence in the last campaign. It's true that he shone at the beginning of the season, showing that personality and vision of the game so characteristic of us, but then he lost space with the return of Frenkie de Jong and, to top it off, the emergence of Marc Bernal, another talent pushing hard from below, further reduced the options for Casado to have continuity here. This is where my Cule heart revolts. Healthy internal competition, is what makes us great. It's what forces us to surpass ourselves every day. How can we consider this a problem and not a virtue? How can we sacrifice one of our own for space or for a few miserable millions? Arsenal is also considering pairing him with Martin Zubimendi, another of the midfielders on their radar. This combination, according to them, would bring them balance and long-term projection. And they are right. Of course, they would be right, because Casado is a player who gives you that and much more. He is an intelligent midfielder, positionally impeccable, with an exquisite first touch and a vision of the game that allows you to break lines. He is the classic pivot who understands the tempo of the match, who knows when to accelerate and when to calm down, a true brain in the engine room, one of those that are no longer made. For now, Casado has not asked to leave, and that says a lot about him. It says that he feels the colors, that he values his training, that his dream is to triumph in the team of his life. But he is aware that the outlook is not favorable for him, and this is where the work of the management, that of our sports director, Deco, comes into play. How is it possible that from Barcelona, we do not rule out his departure if such a solid offer is confirmed? How can they evaluate a sale for 40 million as an economically beneficial operation without too much affecting the structure of the team? Please, we are talking about a La Masia player with brutal potential, a player who carries the Barca DNA in every fiber of his being. A sale for 40 million today may seem beneficial in the accounting books of those who only see numbers, but it is a stab in the back to our model, to our philosophy. It is the wrong message for all the young people who give their all in La Masia, dreaming of reaching the first team. What is the use of training talents and then, at the slightest setback, selling them to balance the accounts? What kind of message are we sending them? That their value is purely economic and not sporting or sentimental. It is a shame. Deco has the decision in his hands, and I hope he thinks about it carefully. Between betting on the player's growth or making money, the answer for a club like ours should always be the first. Betting on homegrown talent is betting on our future, on our identity, on the essence that differentiates us from others. Arsenal, meanwhile, has already taken the lead with the proposal, and I fear that if we do not react with intelligence and, above all, with values, we will lose another one of our own. The departure of Casado is not just the loss of a player, it is the erosion of our soul. It is a strategic mistake that will cost us much more in the long term than what these 40 million can bring in the short term. Have we forgotten that our greatness was cemented in the formation of talents like him? That the best midfielders in the world were built with players from La Masia? These 40 million euros that now seem so attractive in a context of economic urgency will seem ridiculous in a few years, when we see Casado triumphing in another team and we are left searching the market for what we already had at home. It is a disheartening short-termism. Moreover, if Casado is losing space due to the emergence of other talents like Bernal, isn't this a sign that the internal competition is fierce and, consequently, the level of our nursery is exceptional? Isn't this precisely what we should celebrate and manage with patience and a future vision? A great team is not built by selling its young promises to make money. A great team invests in them, gives them confidence, allows them to grow, and integrates them into the dynamics of the first team, managing transitions with intelligence. This situation generates deep concern in me. If we are not capable of retaining and giving opportunities to players like Casado, what message are we sending to the world and to our own young people? That the blue and garnet jersey is no longer the maximum aspiration, but a stepping stone to leave for the Premier League? It is fundamental that our management understands that the value of a La Masia player like Marc Casado transcends the current financial balance. His value lies in the identity, in the connection with the supporters, in the future projection he represents.